Jesus Christ, Joel. What do you do?
Wait! Let me go. Please.
You just come after her.
Okay, so The Last of Us Part 2. It's probably one of the most controversial games of the decade, so I'm going to do a review on it so you get an honest look into the game instead of some old man behind a keyboard getting paid to give a good review on a game he hasn't even played yet. The storyline of The Last of Us Part 2 is extremely tragic and controversial, but it also plays with the emotions of anyone who's played the first game, because throughout the whole Last of Us Part 1 story, you get to grow a relationship and a bond with Joel, and you get to see how Joel and Ellie's bond grows, and to see Joel killed in such a brutal way that the character didn't deserve truly has broken all the hearts of Last of Us fans. One of the most hated characters in the game is probably Abby due to her killing Joel. But when I first saw Abby in the game, I think they tried to over-masculine her way too much, to a point where some started to think that she was a transgender. So I think they should have tried to make her a bit more feminine. So when we met Abby in the game, my impression of her was an extremely determined person in search of revenge for her father's death. As the game went on, I honestly started to like her for quite a bit, until she backstabbed Joel, which led to his death.
Well, one-of-a-kind devs here, guys. Let's do something absolutely fucking retarded real quick. Guys, get this. It's gonna be so edgy. We'll have two girls having sex and smoking weed, and then right after, let's kill Joel! Ship it! Let's go, boys!
As we go into the game where we play as Abby, I think that Naughty Dog did a really good job in showing Abby's relationships with Owen and Mel. It seems like they were very close until Abby ended up backstabbing Mel by having sex with Owen. It didn't really help that Mel is pregnant at the time. I think they should have scrapped the whole scene, but for some reason Neil Druckmann was so persistent in adding the scene to the game that he ended up doing the scene by himself due to no actors wanting to do the scene. During the game, I think Naughty Dog have tried to make you sympathise with Abby after she brutally murders the person you've grown a bond with throughout the first game by putting through flashbacks of Abby and your dad and showing her find her dad dead after Joe kills him after he attempts to save Ellie. But once again, as Gandhi said,
"An eye for an eye only makes the world blind."
What I liked in particular was the way that we saw Ellie grow a bond with Dina and that she has found someone to love. I've seen some people complaining at the fact that she has become lesbian, but I particularly disagree with all the backlash the game has gotten due to Ellie having a lesbian relationship. I don't think Neil Druckmann deserves all the abuse he is getting, even though I dislike him at the moment. I still think he doesn't deserve all these anti-Semitic slurs and death threats, because he has added some really good parts to the game, like the flashback scenes with Ellie and Joel. During the scenes, it really shows how close Ellie and Joel were with each other, and they are a really enjoyable part of the game. Now, let's talk about the graphics and combat system in the game. The graphics are amazing, and you really get to capture the scenery of the game while you're riding through Seattle. The way they have made the game look so realistic is amazing. While you're in Seattle, you also get some chances to test out the combat in the courthouse. Personally, I believe that they have done an amazing job on the combat, and I really just enjoyed going around killing a shit ton of clickers. My final summary, I think that the game doesn't get the credit it deserves, because I believe that there are some really good aspects of the game. I think that most of the backlashes came from Joel dying, and in particular, the fact that we have to watch Ellie go through so much pain to avenge Joel, who's like a father figure to her. And in the end, Ellie just lets Abby go. I particularly like the ending where Ellie gets to settle down with Dina at a ranch, but I would have preferred that Ellie gets revenge on Joel and she gets to go back to Jackson instead of getting kicked out by Maria after Tommy was nearly killed by Abby. So, if I was to give this game a rating out of 10, I'd probably give it a 6 or maybe 7 out of 10. But the biggest problem in the game is the way that Joel dies and how he is portrayed as a murderer.